Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geomologist Presents. I have a burgeoning crew of ne'er-do-wells going to embark on a series of quests and work because we are going to play Corsairs of Cthulhu. So it's going to be Call of Cthulhu set in the Golden Age of Piracy circa 1720. And some of us have made our characters already, and we're going to maybe not go through character creation, but sort of introduce another player who's going to join us to the character creation process and what we did. So I decided to do Pulp Cthulhu. It just gives characters more staying power, both with health and with sanity. And like I said, three of the people that are going to play and it's also a boat, so no worries if you can't make it. It's a crew of quite a few on the boat that you're going to be on is joining this pirate crew. So you're just among the crew if so happens you can't make it, and we just can continue on if that's okay with everyone. I just decided that maybe we discussed it, maybe we didn't. But I'm going to have the players introduce themselves and introduce their characters that they made, and then we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the setup because one of the players who we'll talk about that because I think it's a great idea. Actually, a couple of players have kind of brainstormed and came up with sort of asked what date is it, and then put a map around the time. And then we're like, oh, this might be kind of cool, and how we all know each other. So I think one of the players is going to talk about that, and then we'll kind of go through the character creation process, and maybe our new player. Well, I guess they're all going to be new players. It will, you know, I don't know. Tell us what he thinks. All right. So first, I'll just go in order as I have you. Joe.
I'm Joe Jungers. I'm going to be playing a French American who goes by the name of Villard Saint-Just. He's a doctor by training. He's an explorer by profession. Um, he originates from the pirate-ridden city of Nassau, but in the last few years, he has relocated him and his new bride relocated to the recently incorporated town of New Orleans, hoping to start a new life there. Sadly, something has happened to her in the last 6 months or so. She disappeared mysteriously in the night, and rumors have it that she boarded or was taken aboard a pirate ship headed out of New Orleans back into the Caribbean. So he is hooked up with his previous companions and is off to search the Caribbean for his bride. And hopefully there will be strange things that happen along the way.
All right. So next we have BJ Boyd.
Hello, I guess I should say,
Yar.
or Yoho. My character is Brom Jet. He is British. He is the cook of the ship. Um, what do we know about Brom other than he's British? He doesn't talk a lot about his past. Uh, he just tells people that he grew up. Francis Drake was his greatest hero growing up that he always heard about, so he decided to become a sailor, and he wound up uh, in the Caribbean. Um, Nassau is his favorite place because it's full of pirates, and there's lots of stories to hear and swap. And he has in his possession a strange coin with some sort of bizarre um, figure stamped in it, and for some reason it is always cold, and even though it's bone dry, it feels wet whenever you touch it. And he's kind of obsessed with figuring out the origins of this coin. So he's got some weird ideas about superstition and magic and the supernatural, uh, which translates in game terms into he's got a little bit of mythos knowledge uh, for Cthulhu. And let's see, what are his? He's pretty good brawler, also pretty good at fast talking, and he can he can turn anything if he has the right spices and seasonings. He can make anything into a tasty dish. But without that, he's otherwise kind of a lousy cook. The magic seems to be in the seasoning.
All right, and then Matt.
No, I will be playing Santiago Alvarez. He is a Spaniard from Andalusia, southern part of Spain. He fought in the War of Spanish Succession, and I don't know that he fought voluntarily. I think he was impressed into service, and he was on a ship for a while. And then after the conflict was over, he ended up turning to a life of crime. He's a bit of a rogue, and he is working on the ship as a coxswain, which is a person in charge of the ship's boats. He knows a little bit about locksmithing and carpentry and that sort of thing. And he wields a musket.
Nice. Right. So it's circa early 18th century, 1720, like we said. So, the you do have gunpowder and early guns. They're not as early as 17th century, but they're still, relatively primitive, right? So matchlocks, or is it actually a flintlock that you have? That he has, Matt?
I don't know what this says in the
Oh, it could be
book.
a wheel lock. I think maybe no,
Yeah,
not
so
for a musket. I know pistols would be
you go matchlock, then wheel lock, then flintlock.
right. So we'll figure it out. A musket nonetheless. It could be a matchlock. Probably not a wheel lock. Those seem to be more pistols, but anyway. All right. So BJ, you had a great idea. Actually, Matt put out the map, but BJ came up with a great idea of kind of the time frame or the current events of the place. And before we get to that, though, I'll introduce our other player. I don't know, Arlen, you heard about these guys. Arlen Walker is going to be our other player. I'm showing here the character creation steps, which again is combined with pulp. So how it differs is so pulp you choose an archetype. There's quite a few archetypes. You could choose it or roll randomly in the pulp book, and then that archetype has a signature attribute, and that uh, despite unlike the attributes that are shown here, the primary characteristics that are shown here on this page, the primary attribute is a 1d6 plus 13 times 5. So that's why it's important to pick the archetype. The archetype, did you going to say something, Joe? Or did I miss something?
No, I was just popping my lips.
All right. So the archetype also has like 100 points to spend on a certain number of skills related to that archetype. That's more skills that you get. And then you just roll these other attributes and determine your age and go from there. So, and then your occupations, let me see if I can go through that. It will change for me. It probably it'd probably work if I got on the actual PDF page and changed it. But so then, here's like some other the kind of derived attributes, movement, how to calculate movement, and then your IVs, these various occupations. So the occupations will be different than in the pulp game, Arlen. There's a host of occupations. So, like Matt said, he's a coxswain. We have a cook, and then we have a ship, and then where was doctor? Is it up here? Doctor or surgeon right there down at the bottom. So there's quite a few that you can pick. Um, Carpenter, gunner, musician, sailing master. There's even a voodoo priest, priestess, or alchemist were sort of the strange esoteric types. And I think that's another reason that I decided to play pulp. Um, oops. Because you have this already built into the Corsairs of Cthulhu book. Oh, I should mention this is book Corsairs of Cthulhu from New Comet Games. Maybe I should show the title page. Oops. I'll get to it. I'll figure it out. I'm blanking on the author. Can someone see who the author is real quick if they have it up? Um,
Corsairs,
yeah, for Corsairs. I know it's New Comic Games, and I
licensed by blah blah blah. Dedicated to Doug Ree. Corsairs, written by Ben Burns.
yes, so Ben Burns. Right. Um, oh, my video went out. That was a problem. How funny. Okay. Yeah, Ben Burns. So that's what we're gonna run. And I would also say, just to give you some more information, Arlen. So it's kind of the way the campaign runs, because some of you guys have given me already adventure hooks in your backstory. Um, the campaign is kind of, it's akin to me looking through it, like a plot point campaign. So there are things that happen that follow sort of a plot point, but I feel like I'm gonna run it anyhow, not as a straight plot point, though probably the first two scenes will just go one after the other. But then after that, you have to get to another place, and there's a journey. And in the journey, we're gonna have other adventures. So that's kind of the way. And then there's be adventures along the way, and we'll see what happens and what you guys decide to do, because it could go in a number of different directions, because players always go off the rails, or in this case, since trains haven't been invented, uh, out to sea. I don't know what. So, Arlen, what are you thinking? Do you got any questions?
I don't think any questions. I was thinking about doing the archetype of the scholar and going for an alchemist as the profession
Oh,
because I thought that would be kind of fun and weird. And I like the idea of because in the period, the sort of line between the mystic and the scientific is not quite so distinct. And the idea of like sort of like Roger Bacon, the idea of
right.
being an alchemist who has sort of both a burgeoning kind of scientific knowledge, but also the sort of weird esoteric Cthulhu-esque stuff would be fun.
Yeah, there's definitely a whole chapter. I'm definitely got to get you. There's definitely a chapter on alchemy, and there's like formulas and kind of
Mhm.
stuff. And until now I will have to read through that section
Yep.
as well. So it looks pretty interesting, and kind of like a Neil Stephenson's system of the world type feel. That's what it looked like to me, sort of mathematics and calculations. So like you said, mysticism and science. And I look forward to your character and Joe's character getting into a number of arguments potentially. So, all right. Well, saying that, so BJ, what's our historical context?
So our historical context is you kind of thrown out circus. It turns out in 1720,
20. Yep. Little technical difficulty, but he's back.
I'm here.
Right.
So where were we?
You were just starting to tell us about the setting.
Ah, yes. So, in 1720, Spain attempted to seize New Providence from Great Britain, and there was a battle. Sometimes called the Battle of Nassau or the Raid on Nassau. The battle went from 24th of February to the 1st of March in 1720. And so Carl had kind of been saying circa 1720, just coincidentally, as the about the general time frame for this. So I thought that would be a neat, I guess, at some point in the very near past, maybe we were all present in some capacity at the Battle of Nassau, and that's where we find ourselves as the dust is settling and things are kind of getting back to the way they were before then.
Yeah, I can see how we can interject into history, sort of this ship arriving that you are then recruited to and helping in the battle there at Nassau, which I think would totally work, which is kind of cool. I think a good way to tie in history. I mean, the neat thing about the Corsairs of Cthulhu book like I said, from New Comic Games by Ben Burns, is that it does have like a gallery of pirates or notable personages of the time. So those could be interjected and thrown in here and there. Potentially, you can run into them. I don't know if necessarily they're in, or I don't remember if they're in the little plot point adventure type of thing, but it could be kind of neat, and you could run into them. Much like in Black Sails, I think Black Sails also, it's a show that was on, what is it on? Was on
Stars.
Stars, was on Stars, yep. That they kind of had in the first season the Battle of Nassau as well, so which is kind of cool. So yeah, so we got a doctor, a cook, coxswain, and an alchemist. So I think it should be pretty cool. So if you guys, I guess I have some questions for you guys, and you can answer them as you wish, and then we'll call it, or maybe there might be some last words. We'll see how it goes. But I guess the first thing is, have you guys played in a pirate genre type game before? Anyone?
Kind of.
Okay.
I've played a few sessions of Seventh Sea.
Okay.
Oh, Netflix also has Black Sails.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So Seven Seas definitely very different, more narrative. The first edition or second edition?
First.
Oh, okay.
Well, I have all the second stuff, but I'd never played the second stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. How about you, Arlen, Matt, or BJ?
I have
Uh,
not.
Huh. Yeah.
I played some 5e Ghost of Saltmarsh where there was some nautical stuff, but never really pirate specifically.
Yeah, I feel like there will be some ship combat. I mean, I hope they don't have a whole chapter on ship combat and ship stuff for nothing. I'm sure there will be hopefully some ship combat. Should be interesting. Um, they do have weapons of the period, like Matt's character mentioned. They have musket. So they also have like a whole table on the different, you know, how many guns a particular ship would have, from a sloop to a ship of the line, and different ratings for ships of the line. And then they have like how nasty the various cannon, the various size cannon are. So, maybe hopefully we'll see them put into action. And maybe some of these pulp heroes can catch a cannonball and throw it back. No, I don't think so. I still don't think that'll work. So even if they're pulped. All right. Yeah. So I guess the other question, anyone else? No.
Um,
uh, certainly have played games where characters ended up with ill-gotten loot, but I think that was all on land.
Hmm.
I have not played any pirate role playing game that's sort of situated in either a real or analog sort of golden age of piracy. But I have played pirate sort of nautical stuff for third edition D&D
Mhm.
and then Traveler. Yeah, a lot of piracy potential there.
Yeah, I guess so. Space
The
Pirate.
Vargers and Varger Corsairs.
Yeah, yeah,
Redax.
yeah. Right. So just let me know. I just want to know also then, for me as a GM, like I said, this kind of I outline, and the adventure to me is sort of an outline, like series of plot points and scenes that are going to be interspersed with some of the hooks that you've thrown out, or other adventures, or I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of fun stuff that takes place or could take place in Central, South America, and in the Caribbean, um, all over the place, really. So I just, what are your expectations, just for me as a GM?
Well, I hope, given the setting, that there'll be a good balance of mystery, exploration, and combat.
Yeah. No, no,
Oh,
no,
and
no,
discovery.
oh, no other expectations. Okay, I guess I have a blank canvas. So, all right. So, any questions for me then, or BJ? You're gonna say,
I was going to say expectations. I think with pirates, there's always the opportunity to do something over the top, eccentric, off the wall kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I would expect some of that, and a lot of very dark humor.
Okay. Right. So yeah, I mean, I think because we decided to go pulp. I don't know if it'll be quite Pirates of the Caribbean, but there is that opportunity. We will have sort of magic, or at least science as magic. And it, of course, it is going to deal with the mythos. So that'd be a nice interjection, I think, into the historical uh, sort of setting of the Golden Age of Piracy, the early 18th century here. All right, so are there any questions for me?
What
Maybe
do you
you.
want out of this, Carl?
Oh, I want to get through like a adventure path, kind of. It'd be nice. That's one. I think I want to explore how this works in Call of Cthulhu in this Golden Age of Piracy. I do like Call of Cthulhu a lot. I like that it kind of touches on history, but it's a little off. It's almost as if it were like a alternate universe, like a not Earth 616, but a different one.
Hmm?
But I think that it should be pretty fun, and I think it does. Uh, it does have a lot of kind of cool, I would say, Easter eggs and callbacks to some Call of Cthulhu mythos. Um, some expected, some not. And I do look forward also to kind of following some of your adventure hooks. I think that's always to me the fun of it, is not just going straight through the adventure, but seeing where you guys take it actually, and then reacting or
Hmm.
yeah, reacting to that. See what you guys do. I mean, there's definitely like a plot point, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have to get to all of it. Or it could definitely change along the way, which I think would be really fun. Cool. Anything else? Well, if there's no other questions for me at this time, we hope to, again, this is a little intro, not quite a session 0, maybe a session 0.5 before we actually start our Corsairs of Cthulhu campaign session. I hope for you viewers to join us in the future. So good night and good rolling.